Right then, the dust has settled on Manchester United taking on Liverpool. It was a draw that, let's be honest, none of us really saw coming. All of the papers all last week was full about how Liverpool was going to absolutely blitz them. The best Liverpool team in 30 years, the worst Manchester United team in 30 years. The result, a draw. That's why we like football, innit? Because if it was always just going to go to form, it'd be boring. And it's not. So here we go. This is the 5 things that we learned this weekend with United and Liverpool. First one for us to look at then is Manchester United cannot hold on to a lead or kill off a game. We have watched Manchester United piss away leads against Rochdale, Wolves, Southampton and now Liverpool. We have lost more points from leading positions than anybody else in the league, and we've only scored more than 1 goal in the Chelsea game. United are struggling for creativity and we are struggling to be able to see out a win. This sort of ties in with something that we were speaking about last week where he said Manchester United can't come back once someone goes ahead against us. We have got no fight back in us. I think this sort of leads on to the greater point about Manchester United lacking the quality that we're used to seeing, lacking the depth that we're used to seeing. And I think a lot of the issues that we've got stem from that. But one thing that is very evident is we cannot hold on a lead, and we definitely need to be scoring more than 1 in a match. Second point that we're going to be talking about then is Ashley Young still not good enough. Ashley Young was caught ball watching as the ball comes across for the equaliser for Liverpool. That momentary lapse of concentration that was either him or Rojo definitely cost Manchester United all 3 points, 5 minutes from time. Lads, these are the fine margins you are dealing with at the very top level, and this is why Ashley Young is not good enough. 60% pass completion, not good enough. When you look at the other wing, you see Wan-Bissaka pulled out 3 out of 3 tackles. And if you look at this map of the game here, you see where Liverpool attacked. There's a big space where Wan-Bissaka was covering, where no Liverpool action happened. And then there was a big space where a lot of Liverpool action happened because they just did not respect Ashley Young, knowing he was a weakness in Manchester United's team, targeting him, and he still only made 2 tackles. Third one for us this week then is Marcus Rashford cements himself as a big game player. Now, why is that? Why has Marcus got this ability to be good in the big games and poor in the smaller games? Well, it kind of reflects what's going on in the team, to be honest with you. Manchester United have done very well this season. 2 wins, 2 draws against teams in the top 4. And it's teams outside the top 4 where we've really let ourselves down. That's mirrored by our striker with Marcus Rashford. He's better against the top teams. He's scored 11 out of his 31 Premier League goals against the big sides. He is the definition of a big game player. He's scored in quarterfinals, he's scored in semi-finals, he's scored in Manchester derbies, he's scored in Liverpool derbies, he's scored against Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham. He's scored the winner in all of these games. But he can't do it against the smaller teams. Is this something mentally with him or is this something mentally with the squad? I think that Manchester United like to keep it a little bit simpler when we play against a bigger team. I think that everybody stops trying to be a hero for a second and they keep it simple. They don't overcomplicate it. They get the ball out of their feet and they move it along with a little bit more of an urgency than we see against those smaller teams when people think, I'll take these on, they're not very good. Well, that's a wrong mentality for us to have, and that's perhaps one of the issues that we've got going forward. Is this Ole Gunnar Solskjaer side about to replicate what we saw under Louis van Gaal, where we're inexplicably very good against the top sides and inexplicably shocking against the smaller sides? Is Williams soon to be a first choice player for Manchester United? Left back has been a consistent problem for Manchester United almost since Paddy Evra, to be honest with you. Luke Shaw has come in, he had a very good season until he broke his leg, and then it was like, he's not really recaptured that form. We see it in 4, 5, 6 week periods where he comes in and he gets a decent run of games, coincidentally, when it's contract time, and even though he was technically player of the season last season, he wasn't really player of the season, was he? I mean, he won consecutive back-to-back player of the months, and you kind of go, okay, I guess. I mean, he wasn't, okay. For me, he wasn't that good in any of those. History will suggest otherwise, but he is the weakness in our defence, and he was our player of the season last season. He can't stay fit, he can't cement a place down, and you've had someone like Brandon Williams pop into the team and do better than him defensively and better than him offensively. The energy, the work rate, the overlapping, the defensive, the attitude and the aggression that Williams plays with is something that is sorely needed in Manchester United's side. The fact that Williams made his debut for half a game, was thrown in Europe, First choice, played 90 minutes, played very well. Then he was brought onto the bench against Newcastle, and the fact that he's the second player to be substituted on, and only the second player to come on, after Tony Marshall from the bench against Liverpool, shows that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer clearly favours him. Now, there's been reports that there's going to be at least 2 or 3 current academy players that are brought into the first team for next year. Williams signed a new contract last week. Is Brandon Williams making himself a first-choice player? Is he about, because I think it's certainly within the realm of possibility, that he could take that left-back spot. And he also shown his versatility as well, and I saw a few people going, why are we bringing him on at right wing against Liverpool? Brandon's a right-sided player. He started off, and I've watched most of his games, at right back and even right midfield. But he really made left back his home, and that's weird for a right-footed player, but that's what he did. He's got the aggression, the attitude, and the capability to play left or right back, and even in midfield. I thought it was an excellent choice bringing him on against Liverpool because he was always going to press. He's always going to have that real honesty about him, where other players might be more skillful, other players might be able to do more with the ball, but when you're in the sort of pressurised zone that we was in, Brandon Williams was a pretty good choice. And do you know what? If we'd have brought him on up front, prior to us bringing on Tony Marshall, he'd have pressed from the front. And do you know what? Maybe we wouldn't have completely collapsed on ourselves and allowed Liverpool so much dominance, which resulted in their goal. But we'll never know. And lastly, we finally saw a change of shape. One of the most frustrating things for United fans this season has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's insistence on playing 4-2-3-1 week in, week out, sometimes with the same 11, when tactically that made absolutely zero sense. Yesterday against Liverpool, we saw United line up in a 3-5-2 or possibly even a 3-4-1-2 if you want to get real technical, and it suited Manchester United down to the ground. We have good experience and good level of quality at centre-half, and it gives us a platform to be able to build from and pass out from the back from. Now, yes, we was completely dominated in possession yesterday with Liverpool, but that was always going to be the case. I think not only the 3 at the back suits us very well, but it also highlights some of the weaknesses and hides some of the weaknesses that we've got. We don't need to play a right winger when we can play 2 up front, and that suits this Manchester United team perfectly. I thought Rashford looked better in a partnership, and I thought James looked better in a partnership, and both of them with the same mentality to press on constantly really give United the edge in that game. Unfortunately, there was nothing to bring on off the bench that could continue that. And as I said in my review yesterday, if Jesse Lingard was available, he'd have been an excellent one, either to start and bring James on afterwards, or vice versa, bring Jesse Lingard on after James has run his legs off for 60 minutes. That would have continued the same sort of mentality. Unfortunately, we didn't have another Marcus Rashford, and Tony Marshall, even when he wants to press, it just isn't in his nature to be able to go and do the same thing, which is why I said, the worst case, you could throw Brandon on and just ask him to press from the front because he would have been capable of doing that. If you look at the average positions of United in the first and the second half, you'll see that as we tired, we allowed Liverpool to press us forward, and that eventually led to them scoring a goal. I wouldn't have been celebrating a draw. I certainly would have been celebrating a win if we managed to get it. But you would have took the draw before the game. Now, I think there's a lot for Manchester United to build on here. The formation being a very big one. Brandon Williams being another one. I do expect him to be starting. No, actually, yeah, starting against Partizan midweek, and then it'll probably be a completely changed side again for Norwich at the weekend. Some positives for United to work on here, and obviously some negatives because the gulf between ourselves and Liverpool is vast, but it's not a bad start. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out the link for Patreon below. Loads of you have joined over the last week or so. We are very close to our next stretch goal. As soon as we get that, we will be having a meet and greet with a Manchester United legend in the city of Manchester, where you guys can come, and it'll only be open to patrons, and patrons will be the only ones that get to see that video. And very soon after that, we'll be coming to Dublin. That'll be in the new year. If you're interested in that and all the extra features and extra content that you get on Patreon, hit the link in the description and come and check it out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.